All right, Stokastic, here we go. It's your old pal Emac coming to you on a Saturday here with one Chris Spags as we get ready for a little money time. We're going to make some money, because that's what makes the world go round. Welcome back, Chris. Well, welcome to my world. You're here quite a bit these days.
That's right. I am literally living inside this little box here on StreamYard. But yeah, no, it's good to be here. On yesterday, not we all, but 66% of us yesterday got Tristan Vukcevic, which was not my favorite thing in the world. I had a really good Thursday slate. Profitable day, as Emac can attest, as one of the vets of the space. Profitable day in NFL and NBA for me on Thursday. I'm like, I'm feeling good. Rolled into a Tristan Vukcevic day yesterday, and boy, oh boy, did he not show up. Keyshawn George, maybe enjoying that Toronto nightlife a little bit too much. I don't know what it is. They were hanging out with Drake. But it was one of those things where that slate yesterday could have been better. So get back on the train today, Emac. How could it go wrong?
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess, to say the least. DraftKings and FanDuel doing slightly different slates. DraftKings is excluding Sacramento at Denver. Otherwise, we have 5 teams, I believe, that are on back-to-backs that played yesterday. Maybe it's 4, but we'll hit it when we go game by game here. We get the Vukcevic experience again, potentially. Let's see what we have for early news. We do not yet know about Alexander Sarr.
No, he's in.
Okay, Sarr is in, Marvin Bagley is out. Okay, yeah. So less to go back to Tristan Vukcevic, but it would have been fun because it's Vucevic versus Vukcevic, which, hey, there's
sure that would have brought up the best
for that in some alternate timeline universe, DFS-averse. We will see. All right. Emac is the godfather of DFS. Good one. Funny story. You guys won't even know who this is, but Nigel, I'm blanking on his last name, but he was the guy who founded FanDuel.
Eccles.
So they called him pardon?
Eccles, I think.
Oh, yeah, Nigel Eccles. He was called the godfather of DFS, and I was the grandfather of DFS. So, and that was like 12 years ago. So, hey, I'm like the great grandfather now.
The ancestor of DFS, Emac.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. But we've got one 7 o'clock game today, 3 8 o'clocks, and then that lone outpost later tonight. I'm having a delicious Coke Zero. I stopped drinking soda about 5 years ago. I occasionally have it, but going from about 8 to 10 cans a day down to like maybe that much a year, it feels like. But didn't have my coffee ready. My cold brew was not ready. And I'm trying to stay up for my alma mater, which kicks off at 10:30 tonight. Go University of Washington Huskies.
There you go. I'm sure they'll come through for you. Knowing that you're watching is what's going to really put them over the top.
I hope so. All righty. Let's the overarching slate here is there's some disparate game totals. We've got Atlanta in New Orleans, 231.5, Detroit at Milwaukee, 223.5, Washington and Chicago, 220 or 244. I believe last night that was almost 250 between Miami and Chicago. Tonight, Chicago is, I know they're inducting Bill Cartwright into essentially their Ring of Honor. So there's a bunch of other luminaries that will be in the building tonight. That doesn't impact DFS, but I thought that's fun to call out. And then we have Memphis at Dallas, 229.5. Sorry, that is the 8:30 game. And then the late game is 239.5. So all over the place here, all over the place. I'm turning this over to you, Chris. We have Atlanta and New Orleans, back-to-back for New Orleans. They lost yesterday in Dallas, if I remember correctly, by 3 points. So there will be no Zion Williamson. Jordan Poole remains out. Karlo Matkovic is also out. And then Herb Jones is questionable. On the other side, Atlanta, of course, is without Trae Young for probably at least 2 more weeks. And then Onyeka Okongwu is out. But we do have Kristaps Porzingis in his last game, Chris. Porzingis played a season high in minutes. Do you want to guess what it was?
28.
Oh, you sold them short. 29.1.
Oh,
29
right.
points. And that was after a 3 or 4 game absence for sore knees. So
He's got
the
a lot of
floor
it.
is yours. What are we doing on this shitastic Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Hawks side of this. Getting Okongwu out, I think, makes it look a little bit better here overall, just projection-wise, where you get a few more stats. Okongwu, a good producer overall, gets usage, gets rebounds. Now he's off, so not that Porzingis will play, I think, 30 minutes here, but if he gets that 29 again, that'd be pretty good for him. We got a lot of ownership going Jalen Johnson's way, 61% for the field. I just ran a sim. I got him at 50%, which I'm happy with, but he's projected over 51 fantasy points. I've got him right there with the Stokastic projection, so getting him feels good. Dyson Daniels seems like your most forgotten man here, only going to be 14% owned. I've got him at 5. He doesn't look particularly good overall when we have a lot of guys in. You take off one more Hawk here. If you take off Porzingis, you take off absolutely Jalen Johnson. Dyson Daniels, I think, will do a little bit more. Alexander Walker, same thing. But really, he seems like a 4th option, maybe even a 5th option based on the usage behind Reza Shea. So I know a lot of people out there love to play Dyson Daniels because Trae Young is not available. But really, he can hit the upside for sure. But projection-wise, he's not really there. Porzingis, 36% for the field. I'm getting 14. A little bit low on him, but he has, again, Emac mentioning the season high in minutes. That's a positive for a guy who's battled a lot of health stuff for a while now. But I think the ownership to me, going to Jalen Johnson more feels fair. I am also getting above the field in Alexander Walker. Fields at 24. I'm getting 47% right now. He's put up about 27% usage with Trae Young off the court. We saw him put up an entirely unowned 58 or whatever fantasy points the last time he played. But really, the big thing here is that you're getting technically a pace down. New Orleans playing at a slow 99 pace or so this year. But you are getting one of the worst defense in basketball, 122.5 points per 100 possessions given up by the Pelicans. So really, Jalen Johnson upside here, triple-double upside for sure is there. Porzingis playing more minutes, good. Alexander Walker coming off his best game on this new contract, good. Dyson Daniels, theoretical leverage, maybe. But I'm loving the Hawks, Emac. How about you?
I am, actually. I give a little bit more love to Dyson Daniels, even, not even getting into the whole remember me thing, but he has picked up some stuff, particularly the ball handling, along with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jalen Johnson. In the absence of Trae Young, it's kind of a group effort filling in there, but going against the likes of Jeremiah Fears, and some other overmatched point guards. I think that's an interesting spot there for Dyson Daniels. I am playing on all 3 sites tonight, focusing more on FanDuel than the others. So the 3 points per blocks and steals is always something to be particularly aware of on the short slates. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has flashed 40 fantasy point upside with Trae Young out. That doesn't mean he's going to get there, but we saw this in the playoffs, and we saw this when other people were injured throughout his time in Minnesota, that he is a decent enough scorer and on a team and in a like Atlanta and in a matchup like this. Hey, he's going to look pretty good by comparison with when we look at where the guardrails are. So those are the guys I'm intrigued by. On the Atlanta side, Derek Queen. So did you see his behind the back pass on the break last night?
Yeah, he's awesome, man. I really love him. I mean, he also unfortunately missed the shot at the end of the game, which he and Cooper Flagg were high school teammates. So like,
were they really?
Yeah.
What a high school! Jeez.
Yeah.
Was it one of those special schools?
I assume something like that, or it might have been AAU, but like in high school, they were definitely playing together because like they talked about the last time that they played as well. But yeah, like Derek Queen's really good, man. He's something else right now, and price wise, it hasn't come up yet. It honestly feels like whenever, because the pricing algorithm Friday to Saturday, he's had the monster game. It's not going to update in the same way it would. I think next week he's going to be like 7K. Like I based on how he's played lately, honestly, you make the case a little bit over that on DraftKings pricing. But the field's playing him at about 70% almost. I'm getting him at 89. It does feel like one of those plays that's a little bit, too locked in ownership wise, but it's back to back as well. It is an Atlanta defense that, especially with Trae Young being out, keeps getting better every time. I check the efficiency ratings for them. They're down to a 113.8 defensive efficiency rating, which means they're going up 113.8 points per 100 possessions, basically. And that's, it's not Oklahoma City or anything, but it's about in that tier beneath it. So That'd be my one concern is like maybe they somehow defend him well, but back-to-backs, he's played more minutes every time New Orleans had a back-to-back on the second half of it. Now he's a real starter, so maybe that's not the case anymore. But I don't know why you limit the minutes of like he's like the most in shape big guy. Like he's chunky. Like he's a chunky guy, but he like plays a lot of minutes and plays back-to-backs. And I don't know, Mac, like I think he's like a borderline lock button play here, but we saw what that happened with Vucevic yesterday. So if you don't lock him, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yes, that is the borderline lock play, but we can see that he is positively leveraged at this point on DraftKings. I'm sharing the boom bust tool here, which is surprising. I would like him on the vast majority of my lineups. I will cap him at 90%. We'll see what happens when I start sending these out. I'll have him on my one Yahoo lineup, but I'm looking, and then FanDuel gets a little more interesting because you've got Nikola Jokic in the mix there. I can't remember if. Queen doesn't have power.
Queen's power forward center, so you could still.
Okay, that's why I wasn't getting him as much. Yeah, so he's going to be someone. God, he's very nicely leveraged on FanDuel as well. So he's someone I want to be heavy in on tonight. Now, the interesting thing with him, this will be his fifth start. His last two starts have been alongside Zion Williamson, and it's been rather interesting because they sort of overlap with the areas in which they want to operate. Now, I mean, it's a 2-game sample size, but this might work, Spags, because they've sort of staggered them. So they each get somewhere in over these 2 games have been getting about 10 to 14 minutes without the other on the court. And there's stretches where neither one's been on the court as well. Interim head coach, who is it? James Borrego took over for, I'm blanking on
Willie Green.
Willie Green, who just got fired. But Borrego, he's been a head coach before. So I would have been nervous if I was Willie Green, having that be the assistant head coach or whatever. It's like, I'm on thin ice at this point. So I'm going to be the scapegoat. I'll just be laughing my way to the bank. But the point being is these guys are both decent facilitators. I won't go as far as saying ball handlers, but we've seen, point Zion. And then Queen, while it was probably a 3/4 speed fast break, he went fully behind his back, led Trey Murphy. The guy, the trailer chasing him, wasn't even looking for a pass, and Murphy just went up, boom, 2 points. It was, it wasn't lightning quick, but it was not slow, and it was one hell of a pass. And you're just like, okay, isn't this kid like 19 years old or something? That's pretty impressive to see that happen. Now, there will be a steep learning curve, as we saw early in the season, but then he sort of found his footing when Zion missed all those games, and it looks like he's at least going to be a reasonable starter. You're right. Once he gets up to 7,000 points, he's going to fall out of favor in DFS because he's not going to have the same fantasy point upside. But at his price point now, getting 40 fantasy points would be outstanding. And this is the kind of matchup where that can happen. So obviously we're not breaking ground by saying he is going to be a key part of our day or our night here, but it is just interesting to point out that he is in a position that he can sustain this, which is pretty neat to see. What else do you like from the Pels, who are missing, Jordan Poole is the other key guy who's out, but what do you think about the Pels here?
Definitely getting a lot of Sadiq Bey. I'd feel better about that if we got Herb Jones out. Herb Jones is people mentioned in the chat, I think they're confused that he's not out yet. I think he's still a Q tag. So he's in the data set right now. But if he were to get ruled out, I think you'd feel a little bit better about Sadiq Bey's minutes, feel more confident in that. But Sadiq Bey coming up a lot for me, getting him in 49% of my top 150 lineups, Fields at 32. So he seems like the other play I'm the most about the field on. Jeremiah Fears, the Fields at 50. I'm getting 45, another really important play. As Emac mentioned, he's been playing pretty well on the year with about a 27% usage rate, 17% assist rate, which is under Derek Queen's. Derek Queen actually leads the team in assist rate for all the guys, I think, besides Zion. Playing. So I think for Fears, he's been rock solid. The minutes have been a little bit more stable with him playing over Alvarado, but Alvarado can take minutes away. So you kind of have that looming risk if things don't go well for Fears that he can lose a few. So I think Queen, to me, definitely a safer play. And Trey Murphy, who Emac just mentioned that, the highlight plays that Queen has, some of them have been setting up Trey Murphy, who I like as a player. He's not been to me getting the fantasy results this year, but shooting well. I mean, 62% true shooting overall. He's shooting 8 threes a game. Atlanta's defense is fairly tough overall, but Trey Murphy, I think, looks pretty good. Fields at 37. I'm getting 26, so light fade there, but this game looks really appealing. Like it's a nice game environment. Total at 230.5 is solid. I think it could be a little bit better. But it's really one really bad defense, Pelicans defense, one team that plays with a little more pace, but has a slightly better defense on the Hawks side. I think it's a good matchup to get a lot of different pieces from, and the field certainly agrees with me right now.
And just like that, Herb Jones is not only officially out, but the tools have been updated.
Oh, so there we go.
There we go. Anything else you would like to mention for this game?
Let's see. Nothing else I'm really getting ownership wise. I mean, again, Herb Jones being out, I think will make Bay look better. Think you probably get a few more minutes for Jordan Hawkins in the data, though they could just give it to Micah Peavy. Probably doesn't matter enough for those guys to appeal as values. But Herb Jones, the guy that had 28 minutes than the projection set. So him being out does free up some stuff here, and I'm going to try to update and see what that actually changes we get to the next game.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to be it looks like Vit Krejci's fitting into my one lineup on the secret site. Secret site would be Yahoo. Oi. See if we can do something about that. But I only have $14 left, and I need a shooting guard. So first world problems. All right, game number 2 here. This is starting a full hour after the first game. That would be the 2 we have here are Detroit at Milwaukee and then Washington at Chicago. We have Jaden Ivey trending towards playing. That doesn't mean he's going to. This will be his season debut. He has been out with I forget what his injury was, but
so he had the injury last year where did he break his fibula? I think he broke his fibula, which is okay. I feel like it's like a football injury. Everybody's breaking their fibulas in football, but he's one that I think broke that. But then he had a separate knee injury in the other leg. That's what took him out when he was supposed to come back from the fibula. So he was with the G League conditioning the last week. I think the minutes right now assume that he's on a minutes limit. But he's 3K minimum. I don't think the DraftKings pricers did not expect him to play today. So that's something.
Yes. So we will want to monitor that because that comes in as a potential value play. Now you guys can see only even if he's playing and we've given him this page doesn't have our minutes. I'll go look what that is, but I bet we gave him maybe around 20 minutes. He still only has sub 5% popularity, optimal 7.3% of the time. So they're not going to rush him back. It's a long layoff. Plus, you also have Tobias Harris potentially returning as well. He's been out for the last 9 games for Detroit there. So he's been dealing with a pretty severely sprained ankle that cost him 2.5 weeks here. So this just kind of makes things a little more crowded because we've seen a couple of the understudies, especially in the backcourt, kind of say, oh, maybe these guys need some few more minutes. This all of a sudden Detroit's looking like they may have a competent and a deep rotation, which good for the Motor City Madmen here. But yeah, the Jaden Ivey is kind of an interesting price point.
Yeah, less so on FanDuel. I mean, I guess he's still a little bit cheap, but he's more expensive like Peyton Watson and some of those guys. So on DraftKings, I think it's a legitimate question where if he were to start, you want to think about it a little bit. I don't think he will, and if he did start, I still think he'd be minutes limited to. Stokastic has him at 26, or actually, excuse me, at 16.
Which is like the traditional 4-4-4-4 that we see a lot of times that happens with these guys. So,
and it could be closer to 20. It honestly could even be 24. So, I think if you got the start, you'd feel better about that. If he's coming off the bench, I don't think you want to take that risk very much, or very much. At 150 set, you probably still play a little bit.
All right, now back to the real players here. Cade Cunningham is making yet another leap. That is pretty fun to see. And obviously buried the lead there. No Giannis Antetokounmpo because he, of course, is out because no stars are remaining unscathed, it seems like, this year. What do you like from the rest of Detroit? We've got Jalen Duren, one of many decent center options. Cunningham carrying that $10,600 salary, but raw points are going to mean something on the 4-game slate here for DraftKings. A little bit different on FanDuel because you still have Jokic out there. What do you like from the Pistons?
From the Pistons, honestly, nothing looks that great because you are getting, as Emac mentioned, getting Harris back in, getting Ivy back in. We always talk about the concept of price sensitivity and how, when guys are on the way down pricing and wise and there's nothing that changed about their situation, they just haven't played super well or been known for whatever reason, you're generally going to want to play those guys because they're normally priced higher for a reason. The inverse is also true where guys get priced up a little highly, and it's because they don't have Jaden Ivey who's been missing, literally almost a year at this point. Tobias Harris is missing almost 10 games. It's just not the correct situation to go to these guys like a Dennis Jenkins type, like one of the worst projected values I think you can have. Karis LeVert also is kind of priced for what if all the Pistons get hurt again, but he's not there anymore. Even Cade, I don't think you really want to pay that 10K plus price tag today with these guys coming back in. Jalen Duren, you can talk me into at 4% ownership. His role, I think, mostly unaffected, where he has been a rebounding demon. 22% rebound rate overall in the year, about 12 a game. He's also been scoring 34 points per 100 possessions. And Cade, despite, people of these guys the same thing, but Cade, high usage superstar, 35 points per 100. Duren's been at 34. So he's been really good. I don't think he'll be impacted here. And really Cade won't be, too much overall, but it's hard to pay for these guys a lot today. They've been in really good spots with the depleted roster. Now the roster is at full strength, and a lot of bench guys, like Paul Reed, like Dennis Jenkins, they've earned more of a role than they had before. So it's not a great combo, I think, for Detroit.
No, and we can see on both sides here that literally no leverage, but nobody's really over leveraged. Nobody's really under leveraged. It's just right because of getting those other guys back in. And everybody at their current salaries. Let's turn our attention here to the Milwaukee side. Dear God, I loathe playing Kyle Kuzma and Bobby Portis. Is Bobby Portis in his 30s yet? It feels like he should be at this point.
He's got to be, I think. I don't think he's deep into his 30s, but...
Yeah, like 30, 31, kind of.
Yeah, 30 flat on the nose.
Okay. Kuzma was questionable with an illness. He's going to play. We have no other injury issues aside from Giannis being out for Milwaukee. Ryan Rollins is pretty good. I wish I had been drafting him in NBA Best Ball instead of Kevin Porter Jr., who is now completely an afterthought. And I was taking him only because it's he's going to suck and he could lose time because – he's more of a fantasy guy and he's not that great on defense, and the coach never makes up their mind on what they want to do, and everybody falls out of favor. I think Rollins has taken this job, and there's no going back at this point. He's been outstanding with steals. He's been a tremendous secondary scorer with Giannis. I looked at this last week. I didn't read it today, but he was second on the team in assists and points behind Giannis, and then I think at that point he was like 8th or 9th in the league in steals. So he is really, really, really in the midst of a breakout here. Not a bad price point for him, but the tough part is you got a lot of good ball handlers here for Detroit. So it's one thing if you're going against a weaker team or secondary ball handlers because your primary guy's out. It's a whole different story going against Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And, Detroit's defense overall, and I don't think it's because of Cade or anything, has been towards the better part of the league. 110.7 defensive efficiency rating for Detroit, which is a rolling average that includes some of last year, but is mostly weighted towards this year for me. So it is a good defense for Detroit here. For Ryan Rollins, it jumps out, though, is that, without Kevin Porter Jr., without Giannis this year, we're looking at a 31% usage rate for Ryan Rollins, 44% assist rate right now. He's been even better than he's been normally. And he's already averaging, 62% true shooting from the floor, which is a very good number for a guy that's shooting most, 5.5 threes per game. He's also the last 2 games getting up over 20 shots in those last 2. And we saw him really, he didn't win out in it, but went head to head with Tyrese Maxey and that last game about as well as one can. I've been really impressed with Rollins too, again, visually in that last game, attacking the rim over and over again, using it to either get himself, shots at the cup or, to kick it out to other guys. He's playing really good basketball, and there really isn't anybody else on this team that, can do a whole lot to create their own shot. Kuzma at this point, he's not really that guy, and he doesn't do it, terribly well. Gary Trent will try a little bit, Miles Turner can chuck, Bobby Portis can chuck, but we're not really creating much offense. Cole Anthony can a little bit, but it's really Ryan Rollins, plays the right way. Like Emac was talking about, plays some good defensive stuff, gets steals at a good rate. And then he's also shooting well and getting up a lot of shots. So I really played a lot of them on Thursday. Paid off really well for me and a lot of people who followed me on my Splash Play channels. So I'll be back there again. But I think if you want to critique him for anything, it's that really Detroit, good defense, and they should throw anything they can to stop him. But I'll be well above the field today because I think he's a very good play.
All right, Christopher 1367. He has one chat. I totally forgot that Rollins was arrested for shoplifting way back in the day when he was a fringiest of fringe players for the Wizards.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was. I forget. It was like not Kmart, but it was like a chain store or something. I can't remember all the details, but I've got a gnat or a mosquito in my room here. That's not very nice. But I bet Golden State or the Wizards wish they had him back on their squad.
Oh, yeah, he'd be great on Golden State right now. They could use somebody exactly like him. But he's developed himself. Like he's one of those guys where I played him a lot when he first started getting into the rotation when they were injured last year. And like he's earned the role. Like he's really played his way into like legit standing where he was just on 2-way deals or 10-day deals. And he's a fulcrum point of the offense. I don't think it'll hold to the rates that it has so far this year. Like he's not a 30% to me usage guy, 45% assist rate guy, but if he holds around that range, he's probably still a little bit underpriced at his price tag.
All right, we just got a news dump here, and so everything's coming through the tools. So I'm going to read this off. Projections have updated, but we don't have the popularity done yet. So this is for Chicago. So Trey Jones was dealing with the sore ankle. He will play tonight. There will be a minutes limit around 20. Patrick Williams is out dealing with the sprained wrist. Kobe White intentionally didn't play last night. They were going to play him one of the two back-to-backs here. He is playing tonight. They said he'll play around 28 minutes, if I remember correctly. Or I know this is his third game, but I believe he was in that double overtime game. He played like 30 minutes, did not play in the overtimes, if I remember correctly, because they were capping his minutes. They gave him a game off. Then he came back in the last game, and I think it was like 28.9 minutes or 29.1. So somewhere in that 28 to 30-minute range. Makes sense. Even coming off the bench, he's going to be a reasonable option. Isaac Okoro started yesterday. I had not really been paying attention to the Bulls, so I don't know how often he had been in the starting lineup with their various injuries, but he is out tonight. He got hurt. I want to say it was either early in the third quarter, if I remember correctly. Dalen Terry got hurt yesterday, and then Kevin Huerter, who got tossed from the game yesterday, I think that was the one where he bounced the ball and the ref wasn't looking, so another ref teed him up for it. And it was like he was trying to be nice. The ref took longer to make the call, didn't turn around, and it like went off their leg or something. And it was like some other ref, tees him up and tosses him. It's like there are reasons to toss players. That was not a reason to toss the players. So he's questionable with an illness. And then Buzelis sprained his ankle, went to the locker room, came back, was listed as doubtful this morning because we didn't have any other injury reports, but he's available to play. So all those moving parts for Chicago now should be through all of our tools here. So we'll refresh these here. But is there anything else you want to mention about Milwaukee before we transition to our third game of the slate?
No, I mean, for me, it's mostly Ryan Rollins. Certainly, if you think Rollins is going to be overplayed today, taking a shot on Miles Turner, Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis would not be crazy, but I'm just not there projection-wise. They really haven't shown a whole lot this year with Giannis off the court, and, Bobby Portis has historically, but his minutes are also got jerked around last game. They started Trent over him in the second half after giving him a surprise start. I don't trust anything for the Bucks besides the hope that Ryan Rollins can get there through usage and hopefully some creation.
Excellent. All right, guys. Oh, just a reminder, we and then you can go running here with the Wizards here. So I'll let you look at your notes. We've got Tails that is sponsoring our show. That is the related site here that we have with Stokastic. But this is where we've got all sorts of fun free content. I'm going to share the screen. So if you go to tails.bet. This has all sorts of information here, tons of it free, but it's for sports wagering. There's the pick'em sites. There's the DFS information as well. Ben, who has premium content, is also giving several free picks a day. Laffy, Greg are doing all their content for free. If you remember Greg's Twitter thread bets from his Bankroll Challenge from last year. He's doing that entirely here on Tails, so it is a lot of fun over here. You can see a leaderboard. We've got, I think, almost 200 people that are providing content here. You can just look at some different names. Who's got the most unit profit for a week? Who's got the best? Look at that, Greg Ehrenberg on a 4-day winning streak here. Who's got the long odds parlays? Hey, look at that. Portfolio EV leads the way. Shout out to Portfolio EV. But this is a lot of fun over here. You can sign up here for free, and it doesn't even cost anything. You just put in doesn't even need your email. You can sign up with your Google or I think Facebook. So, or whatever kids are using these days. I'm sure it's not Facebook, but you guys get the point. So check that out. That is tails.bet. All right. The Washington Wizards. Spags, what do you want to do with this just abomination of a team? No Marvin Bagley, no AJ Johnson, no Chris Middleton. Trey Johnson is dinged up. I'm guessing he probably won't play, but they still have plenty of bodies to give 7 guys at least 20 minutes and 11 guys at least 12. It's brutal trying to roster the Wizards.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good total in this game, 243.5. We're not quite talking the almost 250 we had yesterday for Chicago versus Miami, but it is another battle of high-paced teams. And this one, too, there is not a Miami on the other side that is a competent defense. Chicago's given up 118 points per 100. Washington's given up 125 after yesterday's performance. That was particularly bad. But I think for really how this game looks, I expect and I pray for better performances from Washington. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we got Vucevic hard yesterday, a guy who did perform pretty well for us last year in fantasy, but new situation this year. And unfortunately got his minutes jerked around, didn't really have a shot to get there. He just also didn't play his best ball when he was out there. And that's what happens when you are in a fragile role in a situation. You are the third string center. You got to start, gets jerked around. Alex Sarr is not a third string center. He is a legit producer this year, 1.3 fantasy points per minute, 26% usage rate, 21% assist rate. Overall, it's just looking really good. So I think for Sarr, getting him back off, I believe, a toe injury he had, maybe have some concern that the minutes get limited a little bit. And part of his upside was that even in blowouts, he was coming in for a little bit of fourth quarter run before they would fully pull the plug. I still think it's worth buying in here. Fields at 15. I'm getting 30% right now. Keyshawn George was so bad yesterday, and it was weird. Like, he missed a couple shots, and then he just kind of gave up. And I don't know if there was, Toronto, underrated nightlife city in terms of like the guys going out before they get in there. That could be part. Like, that was what it looked like. Emac. I don't blame everybody for not watching every Wizards game, but I was deeply invested in Vucevic and in Keyshawn yesterday, and he just he chucked a few, and then just like, I'm done. It's just like all of the day. Put up, I think, 7 shots in total in that game. Played less minutes as well. He's been so good lately. He's been creating assists, getting his shot up a little bit more. So I think getting him on the bounce back here against a much worse Chicago team for a guy that's like Keyshawn George shouldn't be shooting 62% true shooting on the year. He's probably due for some regression on that, but he's been putting up 15 to 20 shots a lot before that last game. So I want to be there, but those two are really it for me. Koulibaly, I think, okay. The Field's going to play McCollum. I'm not really, but you certainly can. I think Washington's appealing here. They were just so bad yesterday and probably left people with a bad taste in their mouth. You don't want to play Vucevic today, but go back to the other guys and I think hope they pay off.
Yeah, and I thought you said it. Vucevic just had a horrible run out, and because Washington, even though he was their only center, let's call him Vucci Main, so I don't trip up on Vucevic and Vucevic. But Vucevic only played 20 or 21 minutes last night, so Washington didn't really need a center out there for a lot of it, and he was just playing poorly. We're not going to go back to him tonight for sure, but it was a solid play at whatever he was. I can't remember, he's 3,200 or whatever. I think he's 3,500 tonight. The process was there. It was a reasonable play on DraftKings. Just, sometimes these things are going to happen, and we just have to accept that there's a reason these guys are priced so low, because their overall skill set is not that great. But I agree with you. Keyshawn George, Sarr, Koulibaly, if those 3 come in on my lineups, I'm okay with it. Bob Carrington, he fouled out last night. He's going to be hit or miss and can completely be anchored to the bench in the fourth quarter because they have enough other reasonable ball handlers, especially with CJ McCollum out there, that they don't need to play him like they did last year. So this is just kind of a messy team. I wish there was someone else we could point to, because again, this is a phenomenal matchup. But there isn't really anyone, because it's a 4-game slate. Sure, if these guys come in my lineup 10-15%, I'm not going to lose my mind over it. It's just I don't really want anybody more than that on either of the sites. If we look at Chicago, as I mentioned, Vucevic didn't play a lot last night. They just didn't really need him. I mean, that game was just in hand. But the odd part was they put Josh Giddey back in the fourth quarter, and they were down by 35 or whatever it was, 40 points, and he ended up playing the last 5 minutes. I was in chat with people like, why is he in the game? This doesn't make sense. They're playing again tomorrow. It is what it is. I am not worried about the back-to-back for Giddey. He's now had 3 or 4 games back since he missed a couple games with his injury. Obviously, his conditioning is just fine. This is a great matchup for his skill set. Triple-double is on the table tonight with the inconsistent rebounding that Washington has. But I think he's fine. Kobe White, as we mentioned, off the bench, 28 to 30 minutes. He's going to be just fine. Vooch is better on DraftKings. Tough click still on FanDuel, because everything's going to be anchored around Jokic. So we'll get to that after we finish up these games. But those are kind of the highlights there. And even with everybody shorthanded, we still don't know exactly what their rotation is going to be. And that's kind of frustrating to get past the 3 or 4 guys, even though they're missing a bunch. So, I mean, Bucelis is fun. Io DeSumo is fun, but with Kobe White back, they're now 3rd and 4th options on the court. So, or 4th and 5th, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe White came in. He's played 2 games, but he's had a 32% usage rate so far, 40% assist rate. You combine him with Giddey, and that is a lot of possessions being taken away. And I think that makes it, for me, a little bit tougher to love Giddey as much as the field's going to. Field's expected to play Giddey at about 39, 40%. I'm getting a little bit lower than that at 25. But I like Giddey. Like, Giddey, to me, has been one of my favorite players the last 8-9 months or so. Like, when the roster got depleted at the end of last season, he kept putting up triple doubles. People didn't adjust to it. And that's one of those things where if you catch it and you can ride that wave, great. Now Giddey is certainly priced for what he can do in terms of a guy that on the year is averaging just shy of 10 rebounds, just shy of 10 assists, along with 20 points. He's really good, but Kobe White out there is sort of a thing that caps the upside to some extent, really only one of them is going to meaningfully beat the projection. And Kobe White's going to play like 28 minutes. So he'll be out there a good amount. But I like getting some exposure to these guys. I think one of them hitting a tournament ceiling would be nice. But it's a lot of ownership for Giddey. And I get it because people love targeting everything against Washington. Bad defense that plays fast. But it wouldn't shock me if Giddey underperformed by a little bit and Dosunmu played a little bit better, Vucevic, or in particular Kobe White, because anybody can get there versus Washington. They are a really bad team, and we see that over and over again in these times where everybody does play a lot of chalk against the Wizards.
All right, 1,350 people watching, and we only have 67 93 likes. I just hit refresh. Come on, 250, or we end the stream now. There's 1,300 of you watching. Spags will let me push the button. He's not going to stop me. Not going to stop me.
I don't think I could. I don't think that'd be. I don't know how we would have to both not. I'd have to stop you from pressing it on your computer. I'd have to hack you. I don't think I could do that.
I don't know. And then that'd probably be my last show, and Tom would be on the phone with me shortly, or very tersely worded Slack message. So, love you, Tom. I won't be doing this. So we do have a super chat here from Maman Sanson. I can't see the full name. I'm going to assume it's Calzone. So there we go. $5 one. He says, hey, tell me the core plays on the DraftKings GPPs before I go contrarian and accidentally pick the stadium janitor. Sometimes a lucky fan from section 117 is going to get on the court at some point. When we get flu season, because we're already in everybody being hurt season, and flu season hasn't hit the NBA yet. So at some point, you may be looking at that, the stadium janitor, the regional goalie, the Zamboni driver who suits up for whatever team doesn't have all of their players. I would say I think Derek Queen is a huge, huge part of the slate. We'll look again at boom bust, but he still had a positive leverage. As I run, I'm just looking at 50 here. I mean, look at that, 100. I got 100% queen. Now I'll cap that at 70. Jeremiah Fierce is coming in a ton. I don't want to be at 86%, but I think 60% is fine. Jalen Johnson, he was the cover boy on my article today. I think he is absolutely a core play along with Derek Queen. And then Josh Giddey would be the other guy I really try to get in. That's kind of the three anchors I'm looking at. I think Zach Edey is a little underlooked. He is, he had the lower leg injury issues and has only played a few games, but he has looked pretty good while he's out there. So I think he is someone that is a little bit contrarian, but I think it's Queen, Johnson, and then Giddey. And then I am surprised. Oh, I guess I'm not surprised. 1/3 of all lineups have Vince Williams. I want to be above that. I'll probably cap that at 50-55 because as soon as I cap these two up here, it's going to push towards him. And I really don't want more than that, but we'll get to that game here in just a moment. And I think Vince Williams is a decent play as well. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I'm with you. Queen, I think definitely a core play. Jalen Johnson, for me, core play. Sadiq Bey would be a core play.
No! Friends don't let friends play Sadiq Bey.
It's, when you take Herb Jones out and you also take, obviously, Zion out as well, I was going to play him with just Zion out, but I think taking Herb Jones out, it's like he'll be out there, whether it's for the defense. He always seems to get a few shots up. And I've played Sadiq Bey at some of the good times. Like I played him that one day where he hit like 100 threes for Detroit. So like I've got good Sadiq Bey memories. He's my Bey. He's not my.
Oh, I recommended him for under 3.5 rebounds last night, and he only got 3. So hey, I was rooting against him, but. No, I wish he was with the Wizards last year, right? But he was like hurt the whole year. I thought he was buried on the bench in Detroit. He's just had some bad runouts here over the last couple years. He's a perfectly capable 10th, 11th guy, and probably his ceiling is about an 8th man. So there's nothing wrong with that. A spot start here or there. It's just we haven't seen an exciting moment from him. In a bit.
Also, just real fast, if I can, Emac, people are asking a lot of PV because he was announced as the starter, Micah PV. He's not really a guy who gets much usage. The projection for Stokastic is 24 minutes, 17 fantasy point projection. So people are excited whenever they see a new starter. I get it. I don't think PV is a particularly compelling play, especially as the fact that he's going to get even less usage than he normally gets. And he is just a guy that's kind of standing around out there playing the best wing defense he can. So I don't think it's for me, but if you get him a little bit, knock yourselves out.
Yeah, we have a quick second. We have 18 more minutes. I'm sharing his basketball reference page. So these are always, and of course we get pop-up ads. This is always fun to kind of just look at and see what he's doing. You can see this will be his first start of his career. He's got one game above 18 and a half minutes. Look at how little scoring he has. And so sometimes it's hard to understand what this is, but if we go look at his let's look at his per 36. Or do you like per 100? I know.
Yeah, that's what I build all my stuff off of. Yeah.
Okay. So we can look at per 100 possessions, but you can see 14 points per 100 possessions. So that's like is 10 point. If he played 30 minutes or 36 minutes, he's averaging 10.4 points per game. Now he's getting a little more on the rebounding side, but not a lot with the ball handling, not a lot with the blocks and steals. The ancillary stuff's just not really there. It's a 4-game slate on DraftKings. I get it. This is the kind of guy that he may only play, 14 first half minutes and 11 in the second half.
Yeah. That's where I am with it too. Like the fragile minutes are there. He's not a guy getting up a lot of shots. I mean, the one thing I'll say is that the per 100 number is getting up 9.5 threes. That's one thing I look for where it's like there is some volatility there where if let's say Derek Queen gets in his bag a little bit, starts creating. Trey Murphy can also do that a little bit. Or, Atlanta, which is a sound enough defense, they just swing the ball away from the good defense and get it to Micah Peavy, who's not going to be certainly a focal point of what the Hawks are doing. There's ways it can hit, but I think there's a difference between like there's ways it can hit. Like, and even, Steven in the chat, I pulled up that briefly, but like 17 is still 5x, like it is, but are we playing cash games? Are we playing large field tournaments? 17 is still usually not enough for you to make it the full way up. I say this is somebody that finished top 20 and, the other day in the 4-point play, having Bogdan Bogdanovic, it's like, I could only do so much at that point with a guy that, he put up 13 or whatever, but 17 in your bag is like, it's probably not enough really practically.
Yeah, so let's look, and the 5X is always interesting. I mean, that was the easy way to do it once upon a time. PV, there we go. But you can see right now he only has an 8-9% chance of being in the optimal lineup. A boom score would be 23 fantasy points for him. We're projecting him for 17.2. I have him on 8% of my 50 lineup. So doing the math, what is that? 4 lineups that I've got him on. So I'm okay with that. This is the old number because I haven't hit refresh, but that's all I would really want from him. I just don't. I'm terrified of a ceremonial start in 18 or 19 total minutes. So,
yeah, agreed.
All right, ready for the next game? That would be Memphis at Dallas. This is the 8:30 start. Cooper Flagg is in. Derek Lively, of course, is out because, of course, he is. Ryan Nembhard, no, we weren't expecting him to play. Jaren Jackson is doubtful because everybody's hurt on Memphis. And then D'Angelo Russell, game time decision with his illness and the team not liking him and the coaches not liking him and him not liking himself. So we'll see what happens there. What do you like from the Dallas-Memphis game, and why is it Vince Williams?
I mean, Vince Williams is definitely the guy. He has been your point guard really for Memphis at this point. They don't seem to want to play Cam Spencer as much as Golden State would love to play his brother Pat. The other day when Will Richard was just out there, poor innocent Will Richard, another chalk casualty of the week. But I think for Vince Williams here, he is a multi-category contributor on the year, a 31% assist rate, 12% rebound rate, 20% usage. Those numbers go up even higher when you take Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant off the court. He's been assisting on 37% of plays this year. Those two guys aren't out there, and he is. So I think Vince Williams, a very strong play here. Aldama priced up a little bit more, but I'm still above the field at 25, actually at a 35%, Fields at about 25. Cedric Coward is the one that bombed really noteworthily last time out, as Aldama and Vince Williams were super chalk and fully paid off. I think going to Coward because of that might be compelling today. He is a guy that overall, without Jackson and Morant this year, has got a 25% or so usage, 25% assist rate. But that last game, he was just kind of standing around in the corner out there. It was a little bit weird because Coward's a guy I feel like I've been impressed by when I've watched him before. I watched that last Memphis game. He got a little bit of foul trouble, but he just didn't do a whole lot in that game, but he is sort of a natural lever, I think, against the ownership for Aldama and for Vince Williams. But I think it's really those three for me. I'm not a Zach Edey guy on the slate. The minutes just aren't super great for him right now with about a 25.8 minute projection. But I think for the Memphis side, to me, it's just Aldama and Vince a lot, and then Coward getting some amount of, but probably not as much of the field.
All right, let me get a few more FanDuel lineups registered, and we'll build out some FanDuel fun here. I completely agree. I am forever annoyed by Santi Aldama, another guy I have on a literal ton of my best ball leagues. But he never really seems to crack 25, 26 minutes, even when he starts. Now, he has just one start this year. That was the last game, 27.5, as Chris mentioned. He crushed it. He also went 11 of 18 from the field and 5 of 11 from three-point range. So 20% of his made three-pointers on the season came in the last game. He's a wonderful reserve player. He can back up all three front court positions. He can help space the floor, but he just never puts it all together. He's best as a bench guy, and a valuable one at that. But he's one of those guys that when they end up in the starting lineup, they defer enough. Now, the Memphis lineup, who the hell are you deferring to, right? Because it's not Ja Morant. Desmond Bane's not here. It's not unlikely to be Jaren Jackson Jr. So we shall see. What do you like on the other side of that one, good sir?
Not much else for me on the Dallas side, to be honest. I mean, it's going to change now because of D'Angelo Russell getting ruled out, which the chat, I was actually talking about this with Greg yesterday after the show. Like, the chat loves to break news to us. Or like, they think it's their moment. It's like, I get to be Sham Sharania briefly, get to interrupt my dates and hop into the YouTube chat and go, D'Angelo Russell out. But yeah, after we talked about it yesterday on Live Before Lock as well. But Russell, after the report came out that his teammates are not happy with him, don't love his effort and all of that. And I think it's a little bit unfair how much he's getting beaten up on here. But he was ill yesterday, missed, ill again today, missing.
They're sick of him and he's sick. But
yeah, it's so convenient. But it does feel like one of those like, oh, well, fuck you guys. Like I'm going to take a break here.
I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. And the other 9 of you guys are going to stand around and look at each other.
But yeah, people love Brandon Williams because of Russell being out. It should help him out a little bit. You know, Brandon Williams really played terribly in the first half yesterday without D'Angelo Russell. I got a decent amount of him, in particular when they had that moment where Lively was ruled out, and like I had both of them. Like, cool, I'll just play a little Brandon Williams because he pops up. PJ Washington went nuts in that game. That could be part of it. But like Brandon Williams is not guaranteed a role. Like Jason Kidd has kind of taken favor on with him a little bit, but he didn't close last game. You know, they went smaller with Najee Marshall, or bigger rather, with Najee Marshall as the lead guard. Max Christie out there as well. I just don't think Brandon Williams is like a lock play, but I'll be above the field on him now. I think because of losing Russell to Washington will look playable to me. If you want to chase Cooper Flag, you can. I think it's not going to be all the way there for me projection wise, but I was already getting 10. So like, I'll probably get a little bit more, but they definitely look a little bit better from losing Russell because Russell has taken usage and assist upside. And now that's gone for the second straight game.
Yeah. And chat, no, we weren't admonishing you. Absolutely share stuff in there, especially if you are a known and trusted person. Don't spam it and don't be wrong.
No, it's just the enthusiasm for it. Where like it hits and it's like D-Lo's out. And it's like caps lock, and it's like okay, like yeah, I got it, guys. But I appreciate.
Yeah. Now
we're
going to get one last projections update and everything, but that hasn't come through. So as the host, we got to kind of time it because it's gonna that's going to have a trickle down. It's not going to have a huge effect, but then everybody wants to know, oh, everything's updated. What do you think now? And it's like, well, I think we had him in for 23 minutes or whatever. It's not going to change a ton, but I'll wait and run I'll give us a second to get that in before I run the FanDuel stuff here, because then I want to talk about the lone outpost game over there on the blue site. I think that hits everything from Dallas. Cooper Flag is totally fine. Why am I blanking on his name? Najee Marshall, I think, is interesting. Brandon Williams, probably miscast as a point guard, but he's the only healthy one, and he'll get help from Cooper Flag out of position, along with Najee Marshall, etc. But Dallas is like, they're fine. I mean, this will probably end up being a spicy game. It's essentially a pick 'em, but then it could also be a rock fight that is, 110, 107. And we're like, well, that wasn't very fun. I wish I would have known the right guys to pick from Washington in that game. So we shall see. Anything else you want to hit on that game? And then we can quickly cover the Denver Sacramento game.
Yeah, no, I think we can do that because I know the FanDuel people are dying to get that last game in.
All right, so let me go to the boom bust tool here. So the key thing that you want to know is, last I looked, and this is what I'm curious to see, is how much Nikola Jokic is going to be on people's teams, because he was around 50% earlier today, and I think it'll be higher. So let's look at that, because Aaron Gordon is out. So Jokic, wow, it is held pretty steadily around 40 to upper 40s today. So I would like to be above that. And he has a median fantasy point projection on FanDuel that is a good 15 points above anybody else. We are paying for it. We are absolutely paying, and it's appropriate at 12,700, but no Christian Braun either. So it's really going to be him and Jamal Murray for the offense. Because the rest of the guys, Cam Johnson's, he's a fine player. He'll be out there doing Cam Johnson things and trying to do his best Aaron Gordon impersonation, doing all the little things. But you know what he doesn't do? Score very well. So he's not exciting. Peyton Watson is okay. No Domantas Sabonis for Sacramento, but now they've got Keegan Murray in. Russell Westbrook is the highest projected fantasy point player on Sacramento. I thought our stuff was wrong this morning, so I went and looked at 3 other sites, and they all had Westbrook about a point ahead of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Those guys were all in the mid-30s range. That's not exciting. Really, they're one of their huge usage guys is out, and nobody's cresting over 40 fantasy points. What are we doing here, Spags? It feels like Jokic or bust.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Jokic, certainly the FanDuel ownership, I mean, 40%, I'm surprised by it. People don't want to play Jokic at the elevated price tags. I do get it. DraftKings late slate, he's up 13. Oh, it's a showdown. He's 13-8 on the showdown. Was at 13 and change yesterday. Like, he's getting to record high levels, but he produces so well. And the Nuggets are one of those teams where usually, based on the rate data, when you take guys off like Gordon, like Brown, you just get things consolidated more for Jokic, for Murray. Peyton Watson can certainly do more. We saw the spike week, recently, or spike day recently. Aaron Gordon being out. Expect Cam Johnson to start to do some more. He's been such a terrible producer on the year, though, with 14% usage, 0.62 fantasy points a minute. Has been incredibly bad so far. But I think this is probably the time where you try to get him going as best you can. So I think for Denver, to me, it's really you play Jokic and really feel happy about whatever amount you can get to. That still makes sense in lineups. Jamal Murray, I think if you're not playing Jokic, think about him a little bit more, because if he does hit a meaningful ceiling, he probably pulled a little bit away from Jokic. But I think that's it in this game. Sacramento looks awful to me. I think the pricing a little bit softer than the DK late slate or DK showdown slate for Sacramento. But I really nobody here over 10% owned, it looks like, on the boom bust tool. And I can't make a case for any of them deserving that.
Yeah, it's truly an oddity here. It's truly an oddity. I see nobody asked us about tiers, thankfully, because we only have 4 minutes left. Any other interesting things coming on chat? I'm going to be scrambling to get this little upload in for myself.
No, I think I'm not aware of the D'Angelo Russell projection update. Obviously, guys, late swap tool going to be important because that game is not a 7 o'clock game, so you will be okay and be able to make some moves for Memphis, Dallas. And sometimes it frustrates me too a little bit, just because I see people in the chat melting down. It's been a real meltdown kind of chat today. But I think
it's okay. You want to make sure you get your lineups in, because there's so much we want from this first game, and then we've got an hour to sort it out.
Yeah, I think people, and I get it, because I like to massage my stuff pre-lock if I can. But if you do get it slightly after lock, just use the late swap tool, guys. Try not to freak out too much about it. It's actually a very good tool that you should be using really most slates. But yeah, I think for how this looks right now, that's the big thing I'm waiting for, is getting that read on Russell. How much more Brandon Williams am I going to get? But that might be after we lock here.
Yeah, and that'll be all right. So I'm boosting Jokic. Well, I probably don't need 85%. That's probably a bit much. Let's see what we get. Although I can sort it out afterwards. But I want to make sure I'm getting my Jalen Johnson, Derek Queen. Yep, got those guys. That's a tick high on Porzingis. Let's knock him down a couple. Cam Spencer, we'll put him in as a placeholder. We'll need a little more Giddey, a little more Watson, and then we will just go with whatever this is. Download. And then I will upload, and all will be good. Geez, there's a couple Jalen Smith lineups there I can see. It's always funny on FanDuel because you can see the name on the last guy in your roster. And you're like, why do I have him? Why am I playing this guy?
Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately for me, where there are guys I'm getting, and it's just because of the pricing and the ability to to spike around it. But look, that's why we trust the data for the most part, and hope the process works out.
Absolutely. But on a fun note here, we've got let's see, let's sell you guys something real quick, because we've got the how you can get free sims. You could also get free tails if you sign up for any of these sites with us. You can get 1 month of sims, single sport of your choice. You gotta click on our link to go through here. Follow the 4 simple steps above. I will put this into chat, but this is the Stokastic link join offer. We have talked about this ad nauseum, but there are rumblings. A few of these sites may be disappearing because they've had their run with us. Onyx is relatively new. A lot of you guys probably haven't signed up for that. It's in over 40 states. Similarly with Better, but you get their bonus as well as our bonus, but you got to follow our rules up here. And funny enough, DK Pick 6, that does count as a separate one. When I went out to California last month, everything was saying you got $10 in DK pick 6 credits. That was just showing up on my DK homepage every time. So they're still trying to push that, but that is a good way to get some Stokastic information for free. I know we didn't do the nuke of the night. That is an Eric Lindquist thing. I hate infringing upon that one, though. I love the dong of the day.
I don't even know what I got in right now. I just had, there was an update, by the way, for D'Angelo Russell that just came through. So that's why I was particularly scrambling. I think for me, it would be Terry Queen's too chalky. I'll go back to Keyshawn George. He failed for me as nuke of the night yesterday. And I think the law of averages here, Emac, we go up to bat again. We get another shot. Today is the day Keyshawn George hits and is the nuke of the night.
Yeah, I would go after someone on Washington. I think that is the fun way to go. I gave you guys all my plays. My nuke of the night is just going heavier on like 4 or 5 popular plays, in particular on FanDuel Jokic. I may end up with 70%. We'll see what happens here, but that would be one hell of a stand with that. But at least I'd have PMR as I wait around for the Washington Huskies to kick off in the Rose Bowl against the UCLA Bruins. Did your vaunted Trojans beat the Ducks, or did they end up?
I don't know. They were down 2 touchdowns when we started, and I've not been paying attention. Down 1 touchdown now with 8 minutes to go. So there's a shot. Hey. They need this one. I just don't think they're really a good playoff team anyway. So I've kind of like thrown in my hopes when they lost the second game of the year. But they're fighting against Oregon, so more power to USC. Fight on, everybody.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Obi-Wan, I see what you did there. With that, we're going to get on out of here. You guys can follow Chris at Chris Spags on Twitter. And where can they find your DFS content?
Twitter, you'll see most things flowing through there, but check me out at Splash Play Pod if you want NFL content. In particular, my Week 12 Must Plays video is one of, I think, the better videos across the space, where I look at stochastic stuff, look around the industry, come to some conclusions on what the Must Plays hopefully are as of Fridays. And NBA, Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I do my own streams. So the chat today, really so generous and kind across the board. So come hang out on those streams and you can see more of my projections and data. But it's a fun Saturday with you, Emac. I appreciate you being here. I know we're ultimately, guys, we're all just working hard to Saturday. You guys trying to gamble here, us gambling and doing the content. And we're in this together, guys. I think sometimes we might not feel like that. We are in this together until, one of you guys wins. And then we're all like, God, those fuckers in chat, can't believe they won.
I know yet another jerk won the Millionaire Maker with the Stokastic avatar. Why wasn't it me? Why wasn't it me? Get in, use the tools. We talked about how to get them for free. You can find me at Emac DFS, and of course, it is Stokastic over there on Twitter. Tune in tomorrow, 9:15. You get all the NFL content leading up to lock, including Chris Spags on Live Before Lock with Eric Lindquist. And then tomorrow night, you'll get Greg and myself at 7:30 for Sunday Night Football. Should be a good one tomorrow, so check that out. With that, gamers, good luck.